DCTF Live Mothership. Beautiful, scenic Carrollton, Texas. It is DCTF Live, the internet show that taught you to love again. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. By us, I mean me and that guy. That guy is Max Thompson.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Max. You're almost back from vacation.
I'm almost back from vacation.
We're recording these ahead of time.
I'm in Dublin today.
You're in Dublin.
I am in Dublin today.
We're recording these ahead of time because Max is going off to Euro Itchy and Scratchy land, and so we have to record all these. So you have hashtag content while he's gone. So today is Wednesday, April 6th, 2016, episode 109. 109, the number of runs that Bert Campaneris scored as a Texas Ranger.
Wow, now there's one.
You
won't get me on many, but you mentioned Bert Campaneris.
That's a real live Ranger great is what that is. Today, we are continuing our spring tour. We're doing our spring previews of each of the 12 FBS teams in the Lone Star State. We've rolled through, let's see.
A lot.
Texas, Baylor, Houston, A&M, Tech, and TCU. And now we got to hurry up.
Yeah, we got to blow through two today.
Double up. And so we are going with the Texas State Bobcats and the UTSA Roadrunners, both of whom have new head coaches, which should be fun to talk about. So the one thing that's interesting about you going to Europe is that you will not have to tip, because tipping is a uniquely American thing.
My wife said
My wife.
she waited tables when she lived in England. People still tip.
See, I didn't when I was over there. Now, maybe
it doesn't surprise me that you didn't.
Maybe
tip
I'm a bad
when you went
person.
over there.
Maybe. Actually, there's no maybe about it. I'm a bad person. So
we all know that.
I didn't tip. But
I thought we were going to hurry up and get into football in this one.
We will. Don't worry.
Clearly.
I was just listening to a podcast, a Freakonomics podcast about tipping. It was really good, about how they're trying to eliminate tipping because it's not fair. It's not fair to treat the waitresses different than the cooks. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you not agree?
I don't disagree. I just want to talk about football today.
We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com. We have to hurry up because Max is being a
for the
butt.
Texas State and UTSA fans who don't want to hear about your opinions about tipping. That's all I'm saying.
Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, and we have a website. Who cares? What's even the point of life?
Nothing even matters anymore.
The key to being happy isn't a search for meaning. It's just to keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense, and then eventually you'll be dead.
Man. This went grim in a hurry.
Let's roll through. We're going to start with in San Marcos. Going to start with the Texas State Bobcats of the Sun Belt Conference.
Correct.
Doing a bit of a spring preview with them. Mm-hmm. When we last saw them, they were going 3-9, and it felt like they were bottoming out. It felt like something.
Not good.
It felt like something was rotten.
Not great, Bob.
Things weren't going great. So, their spring game is this Saturday, actually, April 9th. Is when their spring game is.
Good timing.
And as far as big picture changes are concerned, it's the biggest picture change, right?
Right.
They Dennis Franchione, the only coach that has coached them at the FBS level, is gone. He has retired. And in steps Everett Withers, DCTF Live's own Everett Withers.
Yes. Friend of the program. Everett Withers.
Hashtag Party in the End Zone is going on.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And the thing about Everett Withers that we've always said from the jump, from the moment they hired him.
Proven winner.
He wins.
Full stop.
He wins. He won when his 1 year at which SEC school was it?
James Madison.
Well, no.
Oh, North Carolina.
ACC. He won in his 1 year at North Carolina. He won in he won at James Madison. SMU fans know it all too well.
Yeah.
He won at James Madison. He's a winner. He's a guy who builds a program and builds winners. So we can expect them to win soon. Here's the issue. Is that he is inheriting one of the most inexperienced teams in the nation.
Yeah.
When you look at them, we'll start with the offense. They have 4 starters back.
Yeah.
4. Not a great place to start. They are losing, in my opinion, their best offensive lineman in Adrian Ballard. They're losing, in my opinion, the bell cow of that offense in Robert Lowe, their running back. They're losing pretty much every major wide receiver. We're going to get to that in a moment. Every major wide receiver. Japhis Gaines is gone. C.J. Best is gone. Brandon Smith is gone. Who's back? Tyler Jones.
Yeah.
Quarterback spot.
Pretty good quarterback to bring back.
Nice to bring him back, right? Nice to bring him back. I thought he was underwhelming last year, but nice to have your quarterback. You'd rather have your quarterback back than not have your quarterback back.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little more sympathetic to his cause because I felt like he was digging out of holes that weren't his fault.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. But they are losing a ton. They do bring back Tyler Jones. It's a very nice place to start. If you're looking for a position battle, it's at wide receiver. So let me throw a crazy town banana pants stat at you, okay?
I like those kinds of stats.
When you look at Texas State, their stats from last year, here are their receiving leaders from last year, okay? And by class. Ready? Senior, 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 sophomore, senior, 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 senior.
Oh.
8 of the top 9 receiving threats for Texas State are gone. The one guy they have back is Damon Mercer. Damon Mercer caught 19 passes. He is their leading returning receiver.
That's not nothing.
He had 2 touchdown catches, but they are pretty much overhauling this receiver corps.
Yeah.
And it needs to happen in a hurry because it's not like I stopped there, but it's not like there's a ton more down there.
Right.
Okay? The guys, then you're getting into tight ends and running backs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's who's catching balls here. They don't have any proven pass catchers outside of Damon Mercer, who is fine. He's a nice place to start. You know, the Lamarck product, I don't know if he's ready to be the number one. Who can step up and take over the reins of this receiving corps? There's lots of room for a newcomer. The offensive line is going to be very green. They lose 3 of their 5 offensive linemen, including Adrian Ballard at the left tackle spot. So they need to find some offensive linemen to step up. If you're looking for a sleeper, I usually go with an incoming freshman, but here I'm going to go with a guy who did get a little bit of touch, a few touches last year, Stedman Mayberry.
Oh, yeah.
Cedar Park Vista Ridge, great. He had some limited action as a freshman, but I think he's a guy who can take over that Robert Lowe spot. That Robert Lowe, for basically 3 years, was the bell cow of this offense. They need a new bell cow. I think maybe Mayberry could be that guy.
Yeah.
So you flip over to the defense, okay? Flip over to the defense, and it's not a whole lot better. 5 starters back.
Yeah.
David Mims is gone. 3 of the 4 linebackers are gone, and Marcus Dallas, Trey McGowan, and Jarrett Jeter.
Yeah.
This is a very young green group. They bring back, basically they bring back one important starter at each level.
Right.
They bring back a corner in Brandon McDowell, who is great. They bring back Dallas McCarty at the nose tackle spot. They bring back Kari Berry at the defensive end spot. But the biggest thing here, when we get into the position battles, the biggest thing for Texas State is that linebacker is wide open. All those linebackers, the linebacker play last year, you could tell they missed David Mayo, who, if you want to talk about another guy who was a bell cow of this team, from a defensive standpoint, now he's with, I believe, Carolina. David Mayo was the heartbeat of that defense through their growing pains. Through their 2012 through 2014, he was the heartbeat. And you could tell last year that they missed him.
Yeah.
So now, who steps up at the defensive at the linebacker spot? Is it Ishmael Davis, Dilla Rosemond? They've got some guys who can step in and play, but can they take over, to me, the leadership role that was so missing last year? If you're looking for a sleeper, I stick with the linebacker spot. I think it's Hal Vinson, the South Oak Cliff product, who's coming in as a signee. I think he might be right now the best linebacker they have on campus. As a freshman, I think that he could be the guy for them going forward.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a big stretch to make that.
No,
that
he was
call.
a superstar at South Oak Cliff. I think he was a bit of a steal for them as far as recruiting is concerned.
I do too. Yeah.
I think Hal Vinson has a chance to be that guy. So when you're talking about what to watch for, you're watching for you're watching for how the offensive line comes about, and you're looking for playmakers. offensively. You're just
looking for sparks.
Yeah, you're looking for a guy who can give this offense a
Yeah.
spark so that Tyler Jones knows he's not alone back there.
Right.
You're looking for wide receivers. You're looking for running backs. I'm looking for what kind of playmakers are going to emerge here.
Yeah.
Not to mention they've got to fill some holes in the offensive line. This offense is going to be a work in progress.
Yeah.
On the defensive side, I mean, focus. I hate to just laser focus on one area, but it's about the linebackers. If the linebackers aren't any good, it doesn't really matter how good everyone else is. The linebackers have to step up. The linebackers have to find some consistency and some leadership there. That's what I would be watching for. So, Max, we wrap up our spring tours with the same question.
Boy.
It's March 6th, so this is non-binding, but Texas State, better or worse than last year?
Oh, this is tough. This is probably the toughest one of the group for me. On one hand, I really do think they've got a coach that's going to get the most out of each guy. But I also think so late in the game, recruiting-wise, their class was probably the most underwhelming.
Yeah, it's either that or UTSA.
It's either them or UTSA, who we're going to get to in a second. But, man, as far as big-time playmakers, I still think I'd probably look at UTSA and go, maybe they got a couple more.
I agree with that.
Boy. The one thing they have going for them is that conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely unpredictable.
And I'll tell you, that's why I think they're going to be better.
I think they're going to be a hair better.
I think they're
crazy.
No, I don't think it is, because I think they're going to get a spark from the new coach. I think there was part of it is that I don't want to say the team quit on Dennis Franchione last year, but I don't think the effort was there late in the season.
Yeah.
And I think that Coach Withers is going to give them a spark, and it may only mean they go 4-8.
Right.
But I think Texas State's going to be better next year because of that spark, because they have their quarterback back, and most importantly, as you mentioned, the Sun Belt ain't any good.
No, it's really volatile year to year.
No, the Sun Belt's not this, game-changing, outrageous conference. It's not very good.
No.
And so if Texas State I think they can steal a couple of wins here, and I think, my initial reaction is something like 4-8, about a win better. I think they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year.
Yeah.
So let's move on. We will go from Texas State. We will mosey on over to San Antonio, to the Alamo Dome, to talk the UTSA Roadrunner Birds Up. Mm-hmm. And when we last saw them, it was in fact, the whole thing here, I think, is extremely similar to Texas State.
Yeah.
3-9, and it felt like they were bottoming out.
Right.
It felt like this is bad. Something's got to change. And so when everything so then all the coaching changes go by, and I'll be honest, we're sitting here doing this show, and every day that went by that Larry Coker we had him on the show, and he's saying, we're looking forward to, the 2016, all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
Every day that went by that he was still there, I was like, man, they're really going to go for him for one more year, huh?
Yeah.
And then about what? 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before signing day?
I mean, the point you made was like, at some point you go, well, now they have to, right? They've gone far enough now. If you're going to get rid of him, you need to get rid of him a while ago.
You get to a point where you're pot committed, to use a poker term.
Right.
And
they were.
They were. I think they were. I think they were, and then they end up making the change. Larry Coker, what was the official term? Was he steps down or?
And then there's been a bunch of fallout afterwards about the semantics of it because of some of the contractual obligations.
Sure. So here's the bottom line of it, is that, first of all, their spring game's April 23rd. I can tell you that.
Oh, that's good to know.
Spring game's April 23rd. It's a week from, or it's 2 weeks from Saturday.
Okay.
The bottom line of it, forget all the details. Larry Coker is out. Frank Wilson is in.
Right.
Frank Wilson, the running backs coach from LSU, comes over and takes over at UTSA, and takes over a program that I think is in need of a direction. It's in need of a spark. It's in need of the honeymoon's over.
Yeah.
For UTSA.
Yeah.
The honeymoon is over.
Yeah.
And it's time to win. It's time to win in a conference, in Conference USA, that, there are a couple teams that are pretty good. But it is not too crowded at the top that they can't make room for you.
Right. And they're betting on a wild card, right? I mean,
Sure.
of the three new coaches, it's safe to say this is the biggest
Sure.
wild card. Proven recruiter, no question.
Yeah, he's a recruiting
coach?
ace. But we don't really know what he's going to do as a head coach. And now the advantages for him remain the same. he's still got a tremendous, inherent recruiting base right there in San Antonio.
Absolutely.
When we talked with Chad Morris, he was talking about how I don't want our guys driving more than 50 miles in any direction because you don't need to.
Yeah.
I think I'd say it's the same thing with him.
Yeah, I absolutely think so too.
You can with UTSA, you can win. You can build a winning program with San Antonio kids, with South Texas kids.
Yeah.
And so, let's take a look at what he's going to be walking into. We start with the offense, and the offense was a mess last year. And it's not getting a whole lot better. I think they're losing their best player, probably second best player, in David Morgan, their tight end.
Right, I was about to say. I think we know who we both feel like their best player is coming back.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
They lose their right tackle, Jordan Gray. They lose the right side of their line. Jordan Gray and Roland Kavanaugh are gone. And then they lose their quarterback. They lose Blake Bogenschutz, not due to graduation, but because of concussions.
Yeah.
He decides to hang it up because of concussions, and so they are left without a quarterback.
Right. And talking to our guy Mike Craven, who knows UTSA inside and out, they weren't, the previous regime did not really have a great backup plan in this situation. No. They had guys transfer out and they had guys transfer in, and they were kind of, again, pot committed to Bogenschutz.
So, as far as key returns are concerned, we go back to the guy that I think is the best player on the roster. It's Jarvian Williams.
No question. Yeah.
I think, and we've mentioned it with Mike Craven and with elsewhere on the show, I think Jarvian Williams is the perfect example of a guy that you can build a program around.
Sure.
A San Antonio area kid, a hard runner, a guy who gives his guts every time he's out there, and a darn good running back. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is a legit FBS running back. Yeah. And sometimes you can't necessarily say that about Conference USA teams. But this is a legit FBS running back in Jarvian Williams. They also bring back a variety of interesting playmakers like Jabrise Taylor at the wide receiver spot. If you're looking for a position battle, look, it's the high-profile one, right? Yeah. It's the quarterback. What are they going to do at quarterback? What's their backup plan? I think if I'm the king of the world, it's Manny Harris. Yeah. I think Manny Harris is the guy. Yeah. But I am also not Frank Wilson, and I'm not there every day. Yeah. They've also got Dalton Sturm who can come in. Is there someone else that they can that's there on campus that they could take a look at? I think there's.
It also depends on what he wants out of his quarterback, which at this point we're not really sure.
We don't really know. I mean, remember he was running backs coach, but that's really largely ornamental.
Right.
He was a recruiting ace, is what he was, and
undoubtedly a good football coach because you don't end up at LSU without.
No, he's a good football mind, but we don't really know what we're getting with Frank Wilson as a head coach. If you're looking for a sleeper, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's a junior college transfer from California who's a tight end. That's your sleeper. Because if past is pretense, UTSA is one of the few programs in the nation that still relies pretty heavily on their tight end. Mm-hmm. And they bring in a JUCO transfer from Ventura College named Austin Blake Smith, who's 6'5", 240, built like a brick S-house. He is big. He's a big, big dude. And I think they're going to I think he's going to be whoever wins the quarterback spot. I think he's going to provide a nice safety blanket. Think about David Morgan. David Morgan, on a bad team, was one of the better players in the conference at his position. I think Austin Blake Smith could be that guy. So then when you look over the defense kind of same song, different verse. 5 starters back on defense. They're losing a lot on they're losing a lot up the middle. They're losing Drew Douglas at the linebacker spot. Mm. They're losing Brian Price and Jason Neal at defensive tackle and end, respectively. They're losing both their corners, including Bennett Akacha, who for a long stretches was kind of their big defensive playmaker.
Yeah.
So they're losing him. Who are they bringing back? Well, they're bringing back Marcus Curry at the linebacker spot. And then they're bringing back both safeties, Michael Iguagu and Nate Gaines. They're bringing back the safety spots, which I think is a nice place that they can build some leadership on that defense. Is say, go to those safeties and go to this linebacker, Marcus Curry, and say, guys, I need you to be the leaders of this defense. Mm-hmm. The position battle I've got my eye on is at the cornerback spot. You know, when you lose 2 cornerbacks, including, the guy who I think has been the real bell cow of that defense in Bennett Akacha, that's not easy to replace, especially in Conference USA, which does throw the ball a fair amount, and especially on a fast track in the Alamo Dome.
Yes.
So Aeneas Henricks and Stanley Dye are the incumbents, or at least they were the guys who are second on the depth chart. They look like they have the inside track at being the corners, but can somebody else step up and get it? If you're looking for a sleeper on the defense, I think it's Jared McLinn, the Carthage defensive end. Now, this comes with a caveat. Jared McLinn has to put on weight. Jared McLinn, I think, was listed at 220. That ain't going to play in FBS as a defensive end. Now, he's got a quick step, and he can bring the heat, and he can bring the wood when he gets there. But he's got to put on some weight. If he can put on some weight, I think that they could find a place for him as a speed rusher, as an edge rusher on third downs.
Right.
I think that Jared McLinn is a guy you definitely want to watch out for. So as far as what to watch for on UTSA when you're watching the spring game and stuff, simply put, who's getting the snaps at quarterback?
Right.
That's the biggest thing here.
And what does the system look like? I mean, even though we don't usually see a lot of, the full playbook in a spring game, at least we know what the base is here. At least we know, get some idea of what they're working toward. Get
an idea of what Frank Wilson wants this team's identity to be, because we really don't know, especially offensively. He'll probably say the right things defensively we want to be attacking, we want to force turnovers. Everybody says that. Right. No coach has ever been hired that says, no, we don't want to force turnovers. That doesn't sound like fun. And then who steps up the cornerback spots? Those are, to me, the two big questions for UTSA on a team that has a ton of questions. A ton of questions. So the question that we always finish with, remember, non-binding, April 6th. A lot of things can change. Max Thompson, UTSA, better or worse in 2016?
Exactly the same.
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. I'd even lean towards a little bit worse because there are so many unknowns.
Yeah.
Take, for example, take Texas State, for example. That's a team with a lot of unknowns, but we think we know what we're getting from the head coach.
Right.
We think we know what we're getting from the quarterback spot. We think we know what we're getting from, part of the secondary. From the secondary. We think we know. And we think we know there's a couple of playmakers here or there. With UTSA, it is major question marks everywhere.
Yeah.
It is major question mark as to what to expect from Frank Wilson.
Yeah.
It is major question mark as to who's going to be the quarterback. Yeah. Basically, the one thing we know is that Jarvion Williams is probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
There's extremely high variance, but the lack of bodies concerns me more than anything else, right? Like if you felt like if they had a full roster, a full recruiting class, maybe we'd be in a situation where, you know what, there's enough variance here, they might surprise me, and I might put a few more chips in that stack. But man, a lack of bodies, no real idea what's coming to the quarterback position, no real idea what's coming system-wise except for some loose stuff that we've read so far. It's hard to be excited about this season.
What we're doing is we're trying to pick up a bowl of Jell-O with our hands, okay? We're just reaching in and trying to hold Jell-O. That there's some consistency to it, and we know some things about it, but a lot of it is just really hard to get a handle on. We don't really know exactly what to do. So, I don't know. UTSA is such a mystery. These are two teams that really are mysteries because of their changes at the head coach. So, that's going to do it for us.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for today. Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow, the SMU Mustangs and the North Texas Mean Green. Two teams that have made coaching changes in the last 2 years. So we will talk about those tomorrow. Thank you for joining us here on DCTF Live. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. And we will see you tomorrow on DCTF Live.